What is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Fireside Rangers. I'm your host, Eric Wilson. Today, joined by my co-host, Will Cohen. Today, we have part 2 of the off-season mini-series we have going on called Fixing the Rangers, where basically I am pretending that I am the general manager of this lovely organization, and I'm just letting y'all know what I would do. Episode 1 was a bit of a controversial one. I wanted us to trade Christopher Kreider. So if you want to hear my opinion on that and all the details of that potential trade that I would propose, be sure to check out that video. But today we're here for the step 2 of what I would do if I were the general manager of the Rangers, and that is to let K'Andre Miller walk in free agency. Whether you love him, whether you hate him, I know this fan base is divided. My opinion is he needs to go. There's a couple of reasons that I'll get into as the video progresses, but that's the premise of this video. So we're going to get right on into this. I'll make my claim. I'll present my case. Will might agree with me. He might not. We'll see. And we're going to have a little debate possibly. So before we get on into that, make sure you guys like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comment section below on how you would handle this K'Andre Miller situation. And lastly, be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But before we really get into it, Will, how you doing today?
Doing good. Tired though, as always. I was at the office late, so
The classic
just got
answer.
back. But I'm happy to be talking about this right now. Honestly thought we were going to be doing the top three coaches, but I thought wrong.
We're gonna
We
get into
can't.
that. We are making this little mini series right now. The regular content is going to continue, especially with this massive coaching search going on. Obviously, big news out of Pittsburgh today. Mike Sullivan's parting ways, and we know Chris Drury's going to want to make him a front runner in this hunt. So we'll be sure to talk about that. We've had these graphics for a couple days, but Will's been busy, so
I'm sorry, guys.
we
I've
gotta
let
bang
everyone
we gotta
down.
bang this out first. So honestly, let us know down in the comments too who your top coaching options are as well. And me and Will be back very shortly to talk about that too. But as for today, we're talking about K'Andre Miller. I'm a big advocate that we need to let him go. And look, I understand the entire Rangers defense was not good this season. There were a lot of people to blame. You can put the blame on the players. You can put the blame on Laviolette and the lack of changes that were made. There were injuries involved as well. A couple trades that went down too, like obviously Miller's original defensive partner, Jacob Trouba, no longer on the team, so we had to make that adjustment. But to me, I'm going to say his performance does play a role, in my opinion, here. I think this is probably the weakest season we've seen out of K'Andre Miller. I have the stats right here. He played 74 games, had 7 goals, 20 assists for 27 points. His plus minus was an even 0, which, as far as New York Rangers standards, especially after last season, is not good. So the performance
Oh,
is there. Okay. He's a turnover machine, cost us so many goals, ridiculous amount of goals that I don't even, it's like an unforgivable number. But to me, honestly, the biggest factor here is money. He's a young guy. He's coming up looking for a contract. From what we've heard from rumors very early on in the season, him and his agent weren't planning on giving the Rangers any favors and making this an easy salary negotiation. He's going to want a pretty sizable pay raise here. And the Rangers happen to have a lot of other guys that I think, frankly, deserve it more. Will Cooley is at risk of being offer sheeted at this point. So the Rangers might end up having to give him a sizable paycheck. I don't even know off the top of my head who else, but there is a handful of players that the Rangers need to address right now. And especially coming up after Shesterkin got extended and Lafreniere got extended, other players that we're going to want to sign in free agency. I don't realistically see a world where K'Andre Miller gets this pay raise that he's looking for, not even deserves it for that matter. I don't think he deserves it. But even if he did, I just don't think it's possible financially to make it happen. So, in my opinion, the Rangers just need to let him walk, let him go sign, get that pay raise from another team, and sign somebody else, maybe someone with a little tiny bit more experience. I don't want to go for like a 29-year-old, 30-year-old veteran player that's just going to slow this team down. I like keeping it young and fresh, but I just don't see the future in Miller personally. I as of right now, I'll admit, I'll be honest, I don't have any names readily available to say that I think we should sign to replace him. I honestly don't even know who's going to be available on July 1st when the free agency market opens. Yes, that is an important follow-up step, but as of right now, what we're talking about today, that's a problem for the future. I'm just saying, let him go. And that's my take. We didn't even really get a chance to talk about it, Will, before we hit record. So I have no idea where you stand on this. You might agree, you might not. You might be somewhere in the middle. Let me hear it.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. I really like Keandre Miller, and I have since he came up in the COVID season, the 2020-21 season. Um, and he lit it up the first 2 years of his career. I think he had like what 38 points in his second year or third year, and it looked like he was trending in the right direction. And these last 2 years, he's looked very inconsistent since Peter Laviolette had gotten here and Phil Housley. He's looked a little inconsistent in his own zone. He has those games where he shows flashes of what he can do on a nightly basis, and then there's games where he'll make a turnover that leads to the game-winning goal, and you're sitting there thinking to yourself, "What the hell was that?" Um, I've seen reports that he's gonna ask for 5.5 to 6 million, and I think. I mean, that's a what, $1.5 to $2 million pay raise, which I don't think is bad. I just think that over the last 2 years, he hasn't really shown enough to, warrant warrant something like that. And over, I don't know, maybe let's say he wants like 5 years. But I do agree with you that there are players on this team that need more attention in this market, such as Will Cooley, because I think that he is a threat of getting offer sheeted, and I think he I think he deserves a contract more than Keandre Miller, as much as I hate to say it. Well, not hate to say it because I love Will Cooley too, but um, I think that if you can find a replacement for Keandre Miller, that's fine. I know last episode we talked about Gavrikov and we talked about Orlov, and those are two players that me and Colin would like to sign, and I'm guessing, and I think that Orlov would take, um, you know, he would take over for Keandre Miller. But you said you didn't want someone that was 29 years old, and he's up there in age, so
I mean, I
um,
wouldn't hate it, right? Like if I just started to cut you off, like if it's a good player
no, it's all right.
that can win us a cup, obviously, yeah, bring him on. I'm just the main reason I said that was I don't want anyone that's like super super old. Like I don't want another uh now I'm blanking. Who's the guy we got that was complaining? Calvin DeHaan. Like I don't want another
Calvin
hit.
DeHaan.
I don't want
Oh
another
no,
hit.
see, I would take Calvin DeHaan if he was younger. I like Calvin DeHaan, but that's
Oh, if you were
besides the
younger, of
point. He was
course.
great. That's besides the point.
Like I want someone for the
Actually,
future, basically, is what I'm saying. Someone that can
yeah.
be around for the next 7 or 8 seasons if they're good enough. Yeah.
Wow, that's gonna be really hard to find on the open market. You're gonna have to give up a
It is.
lot
No,
for
I mean,
that.
okay, maybe that number
You're
was
gonna
too
have to give
high.
up a lot.
Okay, maybe let's say 4 or 5 seasons.
I don't even
Someone
know
that isn't
who's
a rental, basically.
I don't even know who's on the market for that. Like a Brant Clark, but still, you would have to give up a lot of assets for
Now,
Brant Clark because
I'm
he's
not
super
saying it's going
young.
to be easy. Like I said, I did
Of
absolutely
course.
zero research before looking at who is going to be on the market. Um, to me, that's a later problem that we'll probably address in its own specific episode. Uh, so I apologize. I don't have that ready about who the replacement would be. I'm sure somebody that would fit all of my criteria is going to be out there. Maybe it's via trade or just a free agency signing. Um, but the point of my opinion is just that I just don't want Miller. So just take that with a grain of salt as you continue.
Mm. Yeah, I'm a little on the fence. I think that Keandre has a lot of potential to his game. It's just a matter of can he do it on a consistent basis, and the last 2 years he hasn't been able to. I would say right now I'm leaning towards maybe you trade his RFA rights to another team and who thinks that they can tap into his potential and let them pay him. On the other hand, I would honestly I would give him another bridge deal just to see what he does. But at the same time, let's say he is the same that he is this year or the last 2 years, you're cap strapped, and that's something the Rangers can't be right now, especially to a player who might not. He might hit his stride. He might not. He might just be the player he is right now. Um, so I don't know. I think right now, I guess I'm leaning with you. You let either let him get offer sheeted, or you trade away his RFA rights. I guess.
Yeah. And I mean, we'll see what happens. Again, this is just my opinion. If I were jury, what I would do, we'll see what jury actually decides to do. But free agency doesn't open up for a good month and a couple days, so there's plenty of time
Mhm.
to see how this story unfolds. But that about concludes episode 2 of Fixing the Rangers. I'm making major moves here as GM. I read the comments of episode 1. They seemed overwhelmingly positive. It seems like you fans of Fireside Rangers would support me in that GM office. So we'll see if I maintain this positive reputation or if it goes down the drain after today.
Please go down the
But
drain. Please go down the drain.
we'll see. We'll see. It's not easy. I got to make the tough
Just kidding.
decisions here. You're allowed to sit there and be like, oh, I'm in the middle. I don't know. Me,
Yeah,
I
you're
have
the
to.
one that you're gonna get
I have to give a take.
scrutinized.
I have to make the move here. I get it. I understand how jury feels. And episode 3, I'm thinking we kind of combine what we said in the beginning. The Rangers are going to have to hire a head coach at some point. So I think episode 3, we should maybe do our top 3 options as head coach. And then at the end, I'll make my pick and I'll hire my head coach. So we'll see. But that about
I like
wraps
that
up.
idea.
Thank you. That about wraps up tonight's episode of Fireside Rangers. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell so you don't miss notification. Whether you support my move or not, or maybe you're somewhere in the middle like Will, let me know your opinion down in that comment section below. And be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms at Fireside Rangers. But until next time, have a good one. And
Let's
let's
go
go.
Rangers.